Hello and welcome to today's Safing live stream.
Welcome.
As we just wrote and talked with Mike in the pre-chat, apparently, over on the Discord, those have been very quick 2 weeks. So I apologize that I only created the live stream today. And everybody who did not get a notice in advance, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. Danielle had nothing to do with that. So that wasn't me. Other than that, we actually have some small updates we can talk about.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
we would like to let you know about things we're currently working on, as usual, and some small plans we have in advance. But let us know your questions. Preparation has been short and sweet for today, but I feel like makes for honest and good conversations, which I appreciate.
That's true.
That's
true.
So I hope we're all good.
Sure.
Tell me, what or shall I tell the people the story about what happened this morning? I reinstalled. Okay, then let me tell.
Yeah.
I reinstalled. So we have a couple of machines where we do testing, and one of them apparently, like one of the Windows machines, got borked for whatever reasons. Danielle asked me, "Did I do updates?" I'm like, "It runs."
Yep, that was it.
Of course, no, but in
Windows
testing, of course,
update
it's
sells
also a good idea to be on the latest version because that's the only one we can test with. Because if everybody has some weird version in between, we cannot test for every Windows version. That's not possible. So being up to date actually is a good thing for
It is a good thing. I'm just not sure, like,
why it killed the SSD.
how is Windows still capable of, like, killing itself
I have no clue.
with an update?
But one reinstallation later and setting everything up.
Yeah, only one reinstallation later.
That does not take as long anymore. Like with SSDs, it's fairly fast, and if you have a fast USB stick as well, works beautifully. I can confirm that in the current beta, one of the issues I had with gaming is actually fixed. So one of my games, I actually saw the server list, but when I tried to join a server, it was not possible. And I did not see the connection portmaster, everything was allowed, and I was like, what is happening here? And you basically, like, last time I think we talked about that we might push the stuff from beta to stable, and this was one of the reasons why we did not. Because I'm like, have you fixed this? I am not sure if we fixed this.
And I'm like, I fixed what?
Exactly. And I'm like,
Oh, shit.
let me repeat. My game is not working with portmaster running. If my game
must be you.
if my game is not running, it's not working on my machine, Find it if it's working on yours, but we can't ship your machine to all people out there. So it would have been probably fairly niche. Again, gaming typically does, like in the
Weird
gaming
things,
realm,
yeah.
yes, they do. They so do
Yeah.
in the network stack. So weird. So if you have issues with games, it's not on you not knowing how networking works and not on Portmaster not knowing how networking works. It's usually them doing some weird shenanigans.
It's about developers not always being developers.
No, it's game developers.
It's
They don't know shit about networking.
Exactly.
And you
They're
see
like, hey, it works, great, we've done it. I'm like,
don't touch it.
wait a second, that's not how that works.
That's not how it's supposed to work. That's not how it should work. And that's not,
Yeah.
with stuff sometimes like they do, they're not good citizens and in regards to networking and the internet and so forth.
And error messages and stuff like that.
Yeah, and security. And
Yeah.
I guess we all know that, at least with everybody who has issues with anti-cheat knows that game developers don't care about stuff like that too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
They're
enjoy
like
playing some
encryption,
games.
authentication. We don't need that. We just slap on some anti-cheat thing that does, like, digs into your kernel and kind of does all that crazy shit, and we're good. That's it.
I recently looked into setting up some server-side stuff for a game I'm playing, and they don't even assume that you use HTTPS to access their web panel. And I'm like, what? Like, in this day and age, are you for real? And yeah, so stuff like that. Game developers being game developers. And I'm not saying that everybody is like that, but it is like even AAA stuff.
We have the impression that many are.
Exactly. If you are not, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. But so many people out there aren't. So tell the people, what did we find and what did not happen? What was unexpected and why? Sort of like get a little bit into.
So we're investigating. We captured a data stream of the game, and like one with Portmaster, one without Portmaster, and kind of try to find out where the difference is. And we noticed that with Portmaster, one of the data streams based in UDP just stopped at some point, and apparently it was sending packets that were so small
via UDP,
which normally doesn't really make sense, but they did anyway. And kind of how we've built the new kernel extension, we made an assumption that we shouldn't have, and that's why these packets just were lost.
But tell me, UDP traffic, what is it for? What is the comparison? What is the alternative to UDP, or like the famous alternative? I know there are now different sort of like newcomer, whatever, but what are the two main?
Well, the most prevalent protocol is TCP, but I understand that like it's really weird that they use TCP for UDP for that case. I understand that they want UDP later for like live updates, but for connecting to a game server, it feels weird. But apparently,
especially if it's small data packets, UDP is
that
like
was just kind of their
video streaming
thing to do that.
Yeah. Even video streaming has tons of TCP, I think, as well. Didn't they change it? I think it's only live video.
Yeah, it's only live video, but also it's going more niche and niche because UDP because even TCP, even like live video streams as they're used now are mostly based on something called HLS, which is kind of actually just a video sliced into a couple second slots, and you just download these slots via normal HTTP TCP. And if that's too slow, your browser will notice that you can't keep up and will automatically switch to a lower resolution and then skip some sections and start downloading live from kind of the newest slot. So they've solved the whole issue very differently and better because you get high quality video. Of course, it's not live, and depending on how the system is configured, you have a couple seconds or more delay, but that's enough. That's good enough for like almost all use cases. So really doing live video over UDP
is not even that is a thing anymore.
Yeah,
and that was one of the famous examples where you're like, well, UDP makes sense in that case. But so yeah, UDP, it's still current. It's not something, if you see UDP, you don't have to be scared, oh, this is outdated. But sending especially small information via UDP, that is super.
So I understand that games need that because UDP is especially there for sending information that if they arrive too late, they're worthless. That's what UDP is for. And there are very, very, very few use cases that need that. And one, of course, is actually online games because the server has to send you how things move in the virtual world. Yeah. And if you receive something that happened a second ago, you don't care anymore. Yeah. You want the next update, not the last one. Yeah. So it does make sense there, but it was weird that it was using UDP already for setup. And of course, if the packets are so small, there are probably 0 bytes used for security. So yeah, tells you something about the game.
Oh God. Okay. Well then, I wanted to quickly say hello to Eddie as well. Welcome. Thank you for joining us, and I understand that you're like glad to be here because I only created the live stream like today. It has been scheduled. I think it has been announced in Portmaster.
Yeah, Portmaster was announced.
Yeah, we knew that we had it on our like calendar already. So if you just joined in because you were confused and thought it would not happen today, we try to be upfront about when it's not happening.
Yeah.
But again, like so every 2 weeks. That's still the case.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that happened.
Yeah.
And generally kind of I'm gonna come to the other stuff later, but right now we are going more back to picking up older issues and kind of looking into
GitHub.
So we've kind of finalizing some of the big work we've been working on, and I'll get to that in a second. So now we have more capacity to kind of go into issues that kind of we had to pause for the last kind of couple weeks to months. Now we're kind of picking up things again and looking into things again. So, and that's good. So kind of we're cycling back to kind of a more normal operating environment.
Not that it has
more
been
or less.
But I would not say that was it that strange in the last couple of months.
No, but we're a bit minimal on support.
I would not even.
Okay, you were. I was.
You were. Yeah, I was. I noticed that.
Yeah.
Sending you a ticket information, and you're like, and I'm like, Daniel, did you look at that? Have you forgot about that?
I mostly did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You looked at it, but you did not respond. So.
Well, I think I did mostly. Like.
Whatever.
Okay,
We don't need to get into details about that. But if you are missing an answer to an email ticket, please write again and say, "Hey Daniel, I heard you're reading tickets again." If you do that, I will know that you have been listening to this live stream, which is also super cool.
Yeah.
So, no, okay. But you're right. Especially on GitHub, I saw a lot more comments from you again, and see you in the issues. And that was fun also because typically when I see some of those answers, I'm like, I don't know if I would have answered like this, but I'm glad you did. I just saw, sorry Mike that I did not respond to this earlier, but Mike said Windows is capable of killing tons of things. Toasting an SSD, no surprise there. I don't know if I shared this on a live stream, but one Windows update killed a microphone I had plugged in via USB. I got it replaced. It was in Rode, podcaster, I think, microphone. So super cool. Props to Rode. I think it was already 3 years old at that time, but I think they gave a 5-year warranty or maybe longer, and they replaced the whole mainboard with it. Super cool. So if you have those issues, and it has been a while back, I think 3 years, or no, this was pre-COVID. Whatever. Has been a while, but so Windows doing shenanigans like this, killing USB devices. But I'm like, should I unplug everything for every Windows update? And I'm like, no, no. But makes you think about those USB splitters with the power switch. Maybe you can look into that, but I'm not.
But you do unplug other hard drives for Windows updates, right? Every Windows update.
He is referring to, of course, like I'm dual booting, but
hardware dual booting.
I'm hardware dual booting. Yeah, no, I don't have. I have them air gapped my different operating systems at home. So and of course in the office as well. But here it's different devices.
Interesting definition of air gap.
Air gap, but why not?
It's because it's using the same hardware, and
hard
drives aren't the only storage device in your
exactly, but they don't they don't touch.
They don't touch each other. That's true.
The only thing they are touching, both of them are touching, is
the
clock, which
they're mutually touching the same hardware, which is also PCIe devices but
not at the same time.
That's true, but still, other stuff can save stuff on
Yeah.
your.
Sure. Sure. No, you're right.
Are there other hard drives attached to the PC?
No, none that I don't
interesting.
unplug or plug in
Okay.
as needed.
Good.
Yeah, I can go into details if people are interested, but I don't think they are. Last bit before you can continue, I want to also acknowledge Ronyel. Hello. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for sharing that Portmaster is the best. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for being here.
We think so too.
We do. We do.
Okay,
We do.
let's continue. So, we are starting to wrap up changes for what we have been referring to version 2 for a longer period of time now. Version 2, just a quick recap, is just a lot of technical changes that will increase stability and compatibility. So Vladimir is currently working on the last feature that will go in there, which is the VPN compatibility. And we are having good progress there. And I'm currently tying everything together so we can actually do our first version 2 release, test release, and version 2 will have a new installer, will have a new update system. So it will also install in different locations on your computer. So it will require, and that's why it's version 2, it will require a kind of complete reinstall of Portmaster. And also testing means that you'll have to download the new Portmaster. And I don't know if we'll have the database migration yet in there, so we'll see about that. But yeah, we'll in the coming weeks, I hope we will start testing. So maybe just for kind of test machines. And we're not gonna do this big. We're gonna start slow and announce that on Discord
And on the live stream.
and on a live stream, of course.
Yeah, those are people who know where we are and who know where they can reach us. Okay, I have a small tangent later to the live stream, but please.
Okay, so that's kind of, we're starting testing version 2,
Yeah.
which is really exciting to get into that, to get to see that live running, to push updates to version 2, see if everything works front and back, to ensure that everything that we've built there that we can test in current beta will be kind of tested by enough people, and we're sure that when version 2 actually goes live and all users will have to do this manual step of upgrading, that everything is as smooth as it can be. Mm-hmm. So this process will start. We don't know how long it will take. We don't know like all the details about when it will happen, the actual release and everything, but we're really looking forward to get that going. Yeah.
Super cool, Roniel, that you're a beta test as well. Yeah. And
thanks
I feel
a lot.
like
That's really helpful for us.
Yeah. And the reason why we're like calling out and asking people to beta test is because, again, like we're doing lots of changes, like very much under the hood. So getting into my later topic, but people have been asking about what's happening with Portmaster and why is there, like, what about the activity? And I'm like, we're doing live streams every other week. Like, we're active. But people don't find it, apparently, even though we broadcast it to each Portmaster.
If you open the UI,
I got 2 emails this week, both in German, though. Who knows? Maybe that's the reason.
Oh, okay.
Germans don't ignore those things. Maybe, who knows? We're Austrians, so we don't care too much about people.
You mean they instantly recognize the ad space and just
in their mind are blocking it out.
Yeah.
It's not an ad space as well. What are you talking about?
It is not, but that's kind of the
where
thing
other
where things are announced and kind of that's not information. It's just kind of, I don't know, noise or whatever. And they just kind of start to ignore that part. Yeah.
Okay, but we think that there have been a couple, like Mike, super cool that you're beta testing as well. we feel like we have gotten tons of feedback of people who are beta testing already, and we feel very comfortable that the current beta is actually like better than the current stable, and the current stable has been very stable and good for a long time now.
Yeah.
You said you get back into GitHub issues, but there have been so little in comparison to 3 years ago, you know, where there were tons coming in each week. It's very like from an issue point of view, very quiet, even though tons of people are recommending Portmaster, which is super cool.
The technology is actually really mature already. So
yeah.
that's really nice to see that everything just works.
Yeah. If you disagree, let us know.
Please.
Because nobody is telling us currently. Like there are a couple of edge cases.
Let us know, we will correct your thinking.
No. You're referring to when
by of course pushing updates, fixing things, and all that stuff.
No. But for real, let us know if you see something. But I feel very comfortable with where Portmaster currently is, and has been and will continue. So that is super cool. And for everybody who has been asking about different languages, maybe a small reminder here and maybe a small teaser. Somebody reached out via Twitter that they would like to help translate into Swedish. So we might get a Swedish version of the community wiki very soon. Not promises for the full redo because we have a German version now, but maybe a Swedish will come soon. If you are interested in contributing and helping translate into another language, super interesting. Basically, after everything is stabilized, thinking about doing more stuff. Thinking of going onto other platforms, like we have been talking about Android for the longest time, but of course, like people on macOS have been asking, people on ARM have been asking, people have been asking for light mode. So many things we can now start taking into consideration. We can now start thinking about, okay, good, now that the base is even better than it was before, like spreading out into different directions is much easier.
So just to be clear, this is talking about the wiki. That means kind of wiki.safething.io, our kind of documentation system where the community is encouraged to take part in, and also there are lots of stuff from the community already in there. This is not yet talking about Portmaster software. There are plans, of course, to make this multilingual, but we're not there yet.
But we can start thinking about
that will
like
be
that.
a major change we'll have to do in the user interface, and that will be a lot of work. We clearly don't have the resources yet to work on that.
Absolutely.
Just to be clear here, that kind of no misunderstandings.
But having the wiki in your language, that's the reason why I encouraged someone to do the German version. Having the resources to look stuff up in your language already is a huge help. Because then you can go in and check it, and you see the screenshots, of course, in English, and you see the screenshots of the actual Portmaster UI, and so you understand much better where you are and where you need to be going and stuff like that. So I think this is a huge bit. And Roniel, I'm sorry, like support for English and Portmaster, for Spanish and Portmaster, again, like Daniel has been saying, this is more complicated, but after the V2 and the change of away from Electron to something that we would consider like better and in the long term especially, and all that stuff, again, you can already try Tauri in the current beta. But it will not change for the stable until a fresh release, I think.
That will need version 2 because it changes how we install things and all that stuff. So you can
test it in a beta. Then it's already. Then you also see two icons because of that. And the change over to only one icon and all this stuff. This will require the new install. Exactly. So we're aware of this. And again, like different languages within Portmaster will take longer. But if you're interested in helping us translate the community wiki, super interesting. And again, like Swedish, somebody reached out on Twitter, might be coming sooner rather than later. Who knows? It's a community contribution. So we appreciate all the help and cannot I can encourage people, but I cannot force them. I would not want to. So to be clear here. Okay, but super cool. So we have made the change in the text and now it is working, and UDP traffic, even the small unnecessary UDP traffic is now working. Super cool.
Yeah, so there will be some more fixes that we're working on also in the text. And so we're kind of pushing that, and that will, so this is going to be in beta for some more time until we're really sure that the new kernel extension, which is a very critical part, is everything's working exactly as we wanted.
Yeah, kernel extension, of course, Windows.
Yeah.
So I know that Mike is not on Windows. So even though I appreciate tons that he's in beta, text requires Windows users.
That's Windows, of course, and we'll move them together. We're not going to move Linux first. That's going to be a huge confusion for users.
And us.
And us, yeah.
Yeah, it's already with the beta channel like confusion, and when people are reporting stuff, I'm like, what version of Portmaster are you on? And basically, it's
need debug info.
Yeah, basically it's two, so the stable or the beta version, but still, we'll need to know.
Yeah.
Super cool, super cool. Something else you want to share about stuff that's currently happening and you're working on? Don't have to.
I don't think there's anything else.
You need to. Only you're tackling issues. You wanted to share that you're tackling issues now and stuff you have.
I think
started looking at.
Yeah. So yeah, we're kind of also taking the opportunity to, when kind of preparing beta to go stable, to look over issues again and see if there's anything there that needs addressing. So especially to all beta testers, if you still have an issue with beta somewhere, please tell us somewhere, or re-report it or something. Things get lost. It does happen.
But we're looking through stuff that has been auto-archived.
Yeah. So we're looking at stuff, but we still might miss stuff. So if you know there's just one thing that you know of that is still there, and please report it, and we can look at it again to make sure that we get that stuff fixed.
Yeah. But again, I feel like most of the things have been fixed, and most of the issues which have been reported would have been in the stable version anyway, and typically fixes to tell them switch to beta. This has been the fix.
For some types of issues, that's kind of what we currently
especially in
have to say. And it's nice that we have an alternative for them to test, especially for these people that actually run into issues with stable. We know that's the people who want testing beta, because then we can actually be sure that beta fixes the issues that they are having.
Yeah. And
on stable.
Typically we don't hear back from those people, so we assume it's fixed. Some say it has been fixed, and either and it has been fixed or they're gone. So Lonesome, have not seen that yet. Are you reading it?
Yeah, I'm gonna read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I maybe go into what I teased earlier and I
Sure.
did not actually want to share, and then sort of half shared. So people have been asking in the last couple of weeks about updates, and I guess I'm asking the wrong people because you are already here, but it would be interesting for me to know how much you prefer or like the live streams. Again, I think I talked about this in the past, but for us, scheduling an hour, which is easy to do, every second week, and then being interactive is much easier than writing a blog post each other week or something like that. Mm-hmm. So yes, blog posts have sort of been quiet for a time, but for us, this is more interactive. This is trying to address current issues and stuff like this. So I like this more.
You know what we could do? We could create a blog post just pointing to the live stream.
I thought about this as well. And I think we should have done this a long time ago.
Probably.
And I think we're doing the live stream now for over a year. Is it 1.5 years? I don't know.
Do we have kind of episode numbers or something?
No, I'm always thought about that as well. Because when I saw this with the lockpicking lawyer, he's referencing episode numbers, which makes so much sense. And we cannot reference episode numbers. We can only say, well, around that time. And it's usually 2 episodes per month. So it's a 50-50 chance then if we get the month right. But yeah.
Does YouTube like transcribe our audio?
Sometimes it does.
Interesting.
Sometimes it does, and sometimes it does not. And I have no clue how we could change that. But yeah, who knows?
Okay.
Also interesting. Sometimes I got the response that we should have captions on, and I'm like, I'm not turning them off. Not turning them on either. But
so they sometimes exist?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
wow.
YouTube is doing them automatically. You wanted to answer?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, Lonesome, hey, thanks for the question. Yeah, we actually need both eBPF and NFQ. Okay, I'll rephrase your question real quick for other viewers.
Especially the ones on YouTube.
Yeah. So Lonesome asked on Discord about how Portmaster on Linux interacts with the network stack and how it kind of sees packets and how the system integration works. So we use 2 technologies there. One is the NFQ, which is the net filter queue, which is a system that's part of the firewall that lets us kind of inject a queue into the firewall where packets go from the firewall to Portmaster, where we can look at them and then they go back into network stack, simplified. So kind of we can put Portmaster inside the firewall, and that's has been there for quite a long time. And that's kind of that we use to look at packets, and then we can either so we kind of take the packet out of the network stack, and then we can put it back in if we need to, and have it continue. And that's kind of for a long time that was the only way how we interact with packets. And then we just looked at the network state tables to get like which process, which application does this belong to. But some time ago, a new system came up, which is called eBPF, which is a system where you can not exactly write a kernel extension as we do with Windows, but there's kind of a subset of functions you can use, and it's kind of it's similar to a kernel extension, but it's run in a different way, and it's verified first, so that kind of everything's okay. And it's a very nice and safer and easier way to kind of extend the kernel with functionality. And what we do there is we actually get the information about which process a packet belongs to, or connection belongs to. And also what we get from there is we look at the how much data is one connection consuming. So we count packets and bytes of a connection there. We could do all this with the NFQ, but the NFQ copies packets from the kernel space to the user land space, which is kind of the kernel space is kind of that's the operating system itself, which should be very secure and everything. So in order to not violate that security boundary, data has to be copied from kernel space to user space where the Portmaster process lives, and then copied back. And that is slow. So what we do is, as soon as the Portmaster has made a decision on a connection, it marks a connection in the network stack so it doesn't push packets up to user land and then back again. It skips that, so it's blazing fast again. But then, of course, we lose some visibility, and that's where eBPF comes in. But in EBF, we cannot kind of put a packet on hold to find out what to do with it and later continue with it. We can't do that. So we can only collect information there. So EBF is mainly information collection, and NFQ is enforcement. So that's kind of how we could simplify how that works together. And together, these two technologies work quite well. Yeah, of course, the only downside with NFQ is that it needs a firewall rule in your firewall to work. And if you or some other process kills that, it kills that link. So that's kind of one thing that we would like to change to make it more resilient to other processes and stuff interfering with Portmaster. But we don't have any concrete plans for that yet. So yeah, that's how Portmaster integrates with Linux.
Super cool.
On the network level.
Super cool question, and thank you for getting into this. Roniel, again, thank you for sharing that you like SPN as well. Super cool that you're supporting our work also. And yeah, Portmaster, we see it as well. Portmaster has great potential, and the privacy sort of like landscape has, I think, been interesting in the last couple of years, but since we started, and it has changed, but I think it is changing again, and I think Portmaster is much needed in the coming years and so forth. Yeah. And no, you do not sound like a bot. All is well. We understand that Portmaster is being used.
That's what a bot would say.
That Portmaster is being used all around the world. And I sometimes just get, maybe you understand that as well, I sometimes just get emails in Spanish, and I'm just chugging them into a translator, and then without personal information, just to be sure. Like everybody who's sending stuff, I of course understand what names are and so forth. So I try to be, even with translating stuff, very cautious, and then see it in English or German, and then like write an answer back in English most of the time. And then they can translate it as well, and so they see what I answered.
Yeah.
Also, of course, back to the Discord, thank you, Vladimir, for chiming in and explaining a little bit in there. Yeah, Lonesome said that he's thankful for your answer.
Great. Good that you understand better, Peter.
Do you want to answer?
So Ray asked, is it possible to add a UK or Great Britain node to the predefined exits? So what I think you mean is the drop-down list that you see with in the app view. So that is actually automatically generated from the nodes that you can see, and that kind of the nodes you have in your cache locally in Portmaster. So Portmaster knows about the whole network in order to create routes that will work out with your settings and with kind of how the nodes are currently structured. And so Portmaster knows about the network, and from that it compiles this list automatically. And I think the reason that there is no node in there right now is that there are no nodes in there that are marked as trusted.
But we do. Don't we have one?
I think we unmarked it as trusted.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So
there is a saving note there,
real
but it's
quick,
not trusted anymore.
Nodes on the network have multiple attributes. One of them is if they're trusted or not. And trusted nodes are nodes that are operated by either us or someone that we deem very trustworthy. Currently it's only us. Plus that the server itself we deem trustworthy. Because trusted servers are able to do things that others can't. They will, by default, you can connect to them as your home node. And second, they can handle unencrypted traffic. And because we don't know which traffic there will be from that app that you're configuring, we'll have to assume that it may be unencrypted traffic. That's why this list only shows nodes that are trusted, because that's the only nodes we know
Can handle every
that
traffic.
will be able to handle every traffic.
Yeah.
And it's still, there can still be issues, but it should work generally. So that's why I think currently there are no nodes in UK that part of this list.
Do you want to explain why we set it to untrusted though?
Yeah. So
because that's important that we mentioned this. I think requires that we explain it as well. There's been a law.
We have a node in UK hosted by us, and we've removed the trust flag a while ago because of the uncertainties of changes of law in the UK about privacy and all that stuff. So there are a couple of countries that rolled out weird legislature regarding privacy, regarding cybersecurity, and all kind of the power the government has. Some of them are the UK, Australia, India, are the ones that come to mind right now. So that's kind of the reason we were like, okay, we're gonna take this cautiously until we actually know what these laws mean and how they actually affect privacy. We'll just, as a caution, remove the trusted flag. So only HTTPS traffic, only encrypted traffic will exit there. So in case something is going on there and someone is trying to inject stuff into your traffic, they can't because it's encrypted. So that's the reason. If you really trust the government there and the situation, you can manually mark a node as trusted, and then at least after we restart, it should show in the list. I'm not 100% sure, but that's how it should react to that. If not, please open an issue. We'll look into it and find out what exactly would be needed in order for you to do that. Of course, you can just also manually set these rules. So you could just select a different country and then go to the rules, to the exit rules, and see how we did that, and then just change the country.
That's true. That's true.
That's probably the easier way to just
And the two-letter number, it would be UK, not Great Britain. Like I think the country code is UK, not GB. Or is it GB?
I think it's GB.
Click on the I next to it. I know insert NFT here always tells people this, but we give all the information next to the setting, like basically all of it. And I understand that you're talking about maybe doing more Discord FAQ videos, and maybe I should do one. Like just click on the I.
But you also
see as a thumbnail a big I, and then I'm like just click on the I, and the video will be 5 seconds, and I'm like clicking on the I, and then show more details, and it will pop up everything. I'm like, here is everything.
Yeah, if you actually go to the SPN map and click on the node, it also should show you the two-letter code of the country,
which we use,
and we use the ISO standard, but
you can go to Wikipedia.
Different countries have different country codes depending on what set you're looking at. Even like some countries within the EU have a different country code.
Yeah, in the EU.
In the EU system
than
ISO. In the international system.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid. Like, why? Okay. Yeah. We'll just have to live with that. Until then, have confusion.
I think if I can start in participation of changing country codes, I think Austria should have the Ö and an R. That's how we should have.
You wanna include non-ASCII characters into that?
No, of course not.
But so what will all the Asian countries do? Like, sure. We can't even type that.
That's part of why I'm laughing about it.
Okay, just having fun. Okay,
exactly.
Good.
Because nobody whatever. Okay, no, you're absolutely right. Just take a look. And I gotten a message where somebody said, it might have been on GitHub, sent screenshots and they had the order wrong. And I think your suggestion is good. Look at how we're doing it if you do the quick setting. But basically, think about the order. It's always top down. So you need to allow first and then block stuff later, because you cannot block everything on top and then expect the allows to go below to actually take effect, because the block is above. And so this is how it works. But also for quick switching, you can then drag the allow above the block and so forth. So it makes some stuff easier and some stuff you just have to understand and learn. Portmaster, everything is from top to bottom. That's the reason why the force block is above the normal rules and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it
and
makes sense.
We've tried to help people by actually calling it force.
Yeah.
And I think most people get it. But
I think so too.
But it's only most people.
It's only most people, and by the size that Portmaster already has, most people
is
out
a large
a ton,
number.
It leaves out a ton of people. Yeah.
Okay.
Lonesome says he saw a compatibility problem with Mulvad, but it could be almost never be solved because it's like Lonesome compatibility stuff, especially with Mulvad, has been on and off. Like Portmaster stable has not changed in some time.
Yeah,
and the compatibility works, and then it does not work. And I think
they introduced a patch sometime where it stopped working, I think.
Yeah.
And not sure what the issue was. We have there is a big issue with WireGuard because WireGuard also wants to mark connections. And we also want to mark connections. That's how Portmaster can be performant. And the thing is that if both change marks on connections, then things will just break. So there could be a way that would work, but it would require code changes in both WireGuard and all WireGuard implementations, because there are multiple ones, and Portmaster. And we haven't yet had the time to actually initiate such a big consortium of multiple developers and companies in order to fix that. So if somebody would reach out to us and be like, hey, that's the solution, please implement, we're like, yes, great. But we don't have the time to coordinate everything in that regard and kind of explain why this is important and everything. So yeah, we're totally open to fix that, but we can't do it alone. With Mulvad, I'm not sure what the actual problem right now is. They're changing a lot of stuff in their system too. So yeah, it worked before, so ask them what changed. You can find in the GitHub issues. There's a GitHub issue that gives the exact version when it broke. And that's where they can go looking.
It worked afterwards again. And
really?
It is on off. It really is,
yeah.
And it has been over the years for some time.
Yeah.
And again, we're not like, it's not intentional. That's basically everything I can say, and I don't think it's intentional from them either.
Yeah.
It's just like the Venn diagram of people who are using Portmaster and Mulvad, I think, is not so big. That's an huge concern on both ends, and so I think both sides don't have enough resources for that amount of overlap, if you understand what I'm trying to say here. It's, yeah.
Unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. That's a good way of putting it. It really is unfortunate. Quickly, because we're almost up for an hour, I don't have the full hour today, so please write in the questions. We try to answer everything, but I have a hard cutoff at 4 for us. So 10 minutes, and if it's a little bit early, it's not too bad for me either. So just as a quick note.
Yeah, so long as just comment that it is linked to WireGuard. Yeah, so that's the known issue there. Yeah.
Ronoil regarding people don't understanding how Portmaster works. Yeah, people don't understand how network traffic works either in some regards. And that is like, even when writing the wiki, we sometimes thought about into how much depth we should go. Because if you like, dangerous have knowledge is
Dangerous.
Is dangerous, yeah. Yeah. Just recently saw somebody on Reddit who's like, I needed to forcefully tell people that this is wrong because it's, again, spreading half knowledge, and it was not on the Safing Discord, Safing Reddit, but it's we feel this a lot, and I think, funnily enough, especially on our Reddit as well, there are so many questions where I'm like, you probably don't understand how the internet works, and sorry, but I can't explain it to you. It's like, go somewhere else. There's much great resources out there, but you need to understand how connections work and how the internet works before I can start answering you why we're doing it the way we're doing it. Yeah. But I thank you, Ronoil, if you tell people and explain it to people, this is so cool. And it is actually, I think, more and more a requirement that people who are privacy concerned understand better how data moves in the network, through the internet and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just hard. Okay. Mike says, you always go overtime. No worries, take care of your business. Yeah, thank you. You're almost right. There has been a couple of occasions where we did not go overtime, but you're right.
We often do, yeah, that's true.
For apps like Ray, I'm not sure. You said, please, it's for apps like Spotify. I'm not sure. Like, you can do it. You can manually do it. It's not.
Yeah, Ray, you can.
I think it's 2 lines.
Yeah, you can ask that in the community support, community help channel. I'm sure someone there will just tell you how to put it in,
and give you a screenshot.
Yeah, and so.
I'm sorry. We're not doing it in the live stream, so good call.
Yeah,
but maybe I'm even
it's also
doing this
easier
screenshot.
if you can read it. So explaining it here,
you can do the screenshot afterwards.
Make a lot of sense. I can do it afterwards.
Yeah, but not during the live stream. Gooseman, hi. Will there ever be a localization for Portmaster? Are you talking about languages?
I guess so.
Yeah, we talked about this episode a little bit earlier, so welcome for you to join a little bit later. Localizations like languages in the future, yes. So ever,
definitely planned, but
the answer to ever is yes.
Yes.
The answer to soon is no. But we have a community wiki which is already available in German and English. And I shared earlier that somebody has been reaching out offering to translate into Swedish. So super cool. And if you have time enough for this and would like to help us get the wiki translated, because that's fairly easy for people to get a grasp and start understanding how Portmaster works in their language, and then using it is a different matter, you know. So localization for the wiki is easier, but it requires people to help us. It's already available in German and English. Those are the 2 languages I know best. So don't know a word in Swedish. No, that's not true. Only know some words in Swedish. So I'm thankful for everybody who's helping there. Lonesome said, thank you very much for all your answers. They were interesting. Very interesting. Interesting is an interesting word to use here, but I hope they were helpful as well. Yeah. We tried to be helpful, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think are we helpful?
That's for them to say. But are you trying to be helpful?
I am. Are you?
I am.
Okay, good.
I think I am. No,
we're also having fun here, so that's good.
That is good. That is good.
Yeah. Okay.
Guzman said, great, maybe consider a generalized translation panel. Yes, crowd and web. We have been getting some requests for stuff like this, but of course, as you probably know as well, if you know those general translation, you to prepare your UI to accept those.
Yeah.
And I absolutely agree. They are easier for contribution.
But
So
we have to do a lot of prep work
Exactly.
for it to actually work.
Which
Th-
has
then,
not been done
Then
yet.
including community through such a
Yes.
framework, yeah,
Absolutely,
absolutely.
100%.
But
Yeah.
it's a lot of work to actually
Get.
be able to start doing that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have been changing, if you don't know, and maybe you do, but we have been changing are changing the UI engine behind it. We're switching away from Electron to Tauri.
Yeah, the execution engine. It's not
Exactly.
Yeah, it's there are multiple layers.
Yeah, yeah. We're changing that, and so the UI has not like been touched because of that for some time now, and so
Yeah,
forth. So
yeah.
the underlying like
The focus currently
technology
is stability, compatibility,
stuff below the
stuff
surface.
below. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and tons of improvements there. But as we said earlier, now that we're coming to an end in all of that, this opens up thinking about all of those things. And I'm not sure if localization is the next big thing that we want to tackle, especially as we have gotten tons of requests for ARM and different platforms.
There are a lot of things,
Yeah.
and right now it's
Android
version
and-
2,
Yeah.
and we'll see after that.
Exactly, exactly. Don't want to make any promises.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're trying to
Yeah,
do here.
exactly.
Making clear that there are no promises here.
Yeah, yeah.
In that regard. Okay, super cool. Okay.
Yeah, that was nice. So thanks for all the questions. We had some
Yeah.
very interesting topics going into Linux and also SPN and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was nice. That was fun.
It was great. It was. I wish you all a great rest of the day, and we will be here in 2 weeks.
Yeah, see you in 2 weeks. We'll be here and we'll have fun. Be here.
Yeah, and thank you. Yeah, we already know Ray is an SPN subscriber, so thank you, Ray, for supporting our work.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Ron Yell, sorry for supporting our work, and everybody else who's watching, who is a subscriber.
Definitely. You make
thank
this
you.
possible.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And tell us your thoughts. Tell us ideas for videos. Tell us things we need to talk about in the next live stream. Thank you. Have a good
Great.
one.
See ya.